A rom-com set in the workplace where our two leads hate each other and then end up falling in love. Well, that's original. Oh wait, what? It's actually good? The Hating Game is brought to us by director Peter Hutchings and stars Lucy Hale, Austin Stoll, and Damon Downo. Resolving to achieve professional success without compromising her ethics, Lucy embarks on a game of ruthless one-upmanship against cold and efficient nemesis Joshua, a rivalry that is complicated by her growing attraction to him. So The Hating Game is a new rom-com, and it does follow the traditional rom-com formula. However, it does throw in a few curveballs. This is absolutely a chick flick, but I gotta say that it's a chick flick that's done really well. It has all the things that you expect from these types of movies. Two characters that have a hard time getting along, but of course then opposites attract and they fall madly in love. We have the third act misunderstanding that could be cleared up with a couple of simple lines, but of course it doesn't until the end of the movie, and the two absolutely gorgeous leads that apparently have a really hard time finding love. Like these types of movies typically are, this movie is kinda goofy at times, but it's not as grating as some of these types of movies can be. There's actually a little bit more substance here. Our lead characters, Lucy and Joshua, are really likable. While they do hate each other, we really like both of these characters, and seeing them go back and forth throughout the movie is one of the highlights of the flick. There's some genuinely funny moments in this movie, and a lot of it has to do with the banter between these two. And while the writing and dialogue is really solid, the thing that really makes this movie and these characters pop is Hale and Stoll's chemistry. Their chemistry is through the fucking roof here. I absolutely believe these two as a couple. I believe that they fucking hate each other in the beginning parts of this movie, but it's because they are so much alike, while at the same time being pretty different. And yeah, that statement makes no fucking sense, but hey, love doesn't make any sense either. There are a lot of tropes in this movie, but it goes about it in a very smart and genuine way. While the movie itself is a bit goofy and high concept at times, the relationship between these two I absolutely believe. And while it does follow that formula of two people that don't really like each other, then they fall in love, and then of course there's that thing that breaks them up at least temporarily, it takes it a step further. And while yes, that is the basic layout of the movie, they actually go back and forth with each other quite a few times. But when it comes to that big misunderstanding in the third act that all these movies have, yes, the movie does have it, and yes, it could have been cleared up fairly easy, but at least in this movie, we get a fairly plausible reason as to why it didn't happen. It wasn't just because somebody didn't say something that any normal person would have said. No, there is a reason that these things aren't said, and like I said, it's a plausible one. By the time the end rolls around and it's finally said and we get our ending, you're like, okay, I get that. I understand why it went down that way. We also get a monologue scene from Hale that I thought was just really awesome. This particular scene when it goes down, while yes, we've had scenes like this in other movies, other rom-coms in fact, the way Hale delivers it and what is said and the way that this moment is set up, I thought was really powerful. And I mean, I don't mean it's like the deepest drama ever, but that scene was really good. And what she had to say was absolutely one of those fuck yeah moments, and it worked. And that's what I mean by this movie is a cut above the rest in this genre. It does follow a lot of the same tropes and beats of rom-coms, but it just does it all really well. And here and there, it does trip you up a bit and say, yeah, you thought this was gonna happen, and while we might go somewhat down that road, we're gonna throw a couple of curveballs your way and do it our own way. And that made the movie really enjoyable. Sure, it is a chick flick, if you will, and it is directed more at females, but I did still enjoy this movie. I wouldn't mind going and sitting down with my wife and watching this flick. The movie is also a lot more R-rated than I expected. These types of movies are usually PG-13 and kind of tame. This one though, as far as like the language and some of the sexual material in it, was a lot more than I was ever expecting. I didn't realize it was rated R when I turned it on, but you find out pretty quick, yeah, this is an R-rated affair. And we don't get that from these movies that are positioned at this demographic usually, unless it's something like 50 Shades of Grey, and that's not really a comedy. I mean, not an intentional comedy at least. When it comes to these romantic comedies, they typically don't go into that territory. This one though, it absolutely does, and I really enjoyed that. It allows these characters to speak more like real people. yes, it is heightened a bit, of course, but it did seem more genuine. The way that these characters interact with each other when they are hating each other or when, you know, they're in the thralls of other activities, it seemed more real, it seemed more genuine. And that genuineness of it all really lended to the enjoyment and believability of this film. Overall, narratively, I really wasn't expecting much from this movie, but I ended up enjoying it quite a bit. All of our characters are very likable, and like I said, Hale and Stahl's chemistry is absolutely fantastic. But all of our side characters are really entertaining too. The character of Danny, played by Damon Dano, was set up to be a certain type of character you get in these movies, and he did end up being that character, but much like the rest of the movie, they threw a curveball our way, and it actually worked out a bit different. I was really thinking they were going to go a different direction with this character, but no, that's not what they did. They subverted those expectations. And this is a character that at first you feel is a bit throwaway, but by the end you end up liking. That's kind of how all the side characters in this movie end up. They're presented to you in one way and you think you know how things are going to work out, and while they basically go down that road, they always end up just a bit different. The only one that I felt was underused would be Corbin Burnson as the boss of this company that these two work at. I felt like this character was just kind of wasted. He was really only there for one specific reason, to be this certain thing, and that's really all we got from it. I mean, he did what he was supposed to do, I guess, but they didn't really throw anything new in there. But you know, when it comes to all the other things they did really well in this movie, the fact that this one character was kind of shallow and just does exactly what you expect, I'm okay with that. Overall, the performances and characters in this movie were all really enjoyable and very well done. Ultimately, ladies, you are going to enjoy this movie. But guys, if you get drugged to this movie, don't worry, because you might actually find some enjoyment in this one as well. And guys, you know the ladies love it when you're into their movies, so hey, good on you, movie. Guys, at the end of the day, The Hating Game subverted a lot of my expectations. I was expecting just your run-of-the-mill rom-com, and while I did get some of that, the movie just went above and beyond in pretty much every way. Is it my new favorite movie ever made? No, but it was a lot more enjoyable than I ever expected. We've got a well-known story that shakes things up just enough to be original. Our two leads' chemistry is absolutely wonderful, and the movie is genuinely funny throughout. When it comes to rom-coms, this is one of the good ones, and I had a really good time with this movie and think that it is absolutely worth a rent.
All he wanted was this.
I have to return some videotape.
I wasn't expecting much from this movie. I didn't necessarily expect it to be bad, but I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I did. So if you're looking for a pretty damn enjoyable rom-com for the night, then check out The Hating Game, especially with your significant other, and I think you're gonna have a really good time for the evening. So there it is, guys, my review of The Hating Game. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you want to help out the channel, check out my Patreon in the description below, become a jarhead and get some of the awesome benefits to go along with that, like these guys, and possibly join my top tier and become a bad motherfucker like my man Greg C and Dragon Con. If you liked what I had to say, give me a like. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, Aspen.
The job is mine, Shortcake.
If you get the job, I'll resign, just like you will if I do.
But I'm incapable of giving you that pleasure.
Well, it's not the first time you said that to a woman, is it?
So full disclosure, one of the reasons that I think this movie did speak to me a bit more was that because I feel as if it is at least somewhat based on me and my wife. You see, we met each other at work originally as well, and we also did not like each other at first. But then over time, what do you know, things work out. It just goes to show you that love can bloom from the oddest places at times. Two people that don't like each other can come together, fall in love, get married, have children, and at times still not like each other, but hey, they're in love. No, I'm not talking about you, honey. I'm talking about her. Shh.